You set? Alastair, thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to be able to share with the community. My name is Iwan. My fellow co-presenter, Sunny Dua, is not here. He happens to have a wife, and and the wife just got a job, so he can't travel, which is fair enough, right? And so yeah, that is about us. I think our full contact is actually there. So the two of us blogs heavily on the topics of the VMware's operations. Now, and the reason why we do that, right? See, at VMware, I've been in VMware for 9+ years. I was told I can move around, so I just want to get closer to you guys. But you can't ask questions according to them. I've been here for 9+ years. I'm part of the furniture by now. And we do a good job in VMware in telling you guys how to architect using our technology. You know, you got VCDX program. How do you architect, vSphere, NSX, vSAN, etc. But we kind of forgot to tell you guys, how do you operate the stack? And just because you can architect it doesn't mean you can operate it, right? You can build a space shuttle, but doesn't mean you can operate one, because you got to be an astronaut to do that. And what is the proof of that? I traveled half my time seeing customers globally, typically one-on-one engagement or small workshops like this. And we see a world that what is called not operationalized. And that is why if you Google Operationalize Your World, you will arrive, and in this case, it's in my blog. It's a program that we do globally, right? The world that is not operationalized looks something like this. And let me know if this resonates with what you see in your environment or your customers, right? On one hand, the customers, the application team, the line of business is saying, look, the platform, the infra as a service, it's not slow, it's not fast, it's not going to do the job, my VM is slow. On the other hand, the CIO is saying, look, we can't get more hardware, it is not yet fully utilized. Does it resonate? You think about it. We all experts in VMware. We all system architect. And it's not rocket science nowadays to architect an environment. Plus there is a VVD, right? So why are we in this situation? Why do we kind of like, we lost our credibility to some extent. When an application team is coming towards us and saying, look, your infra is not performing well. In other words, you don't know how to architect it, man. There's that underlying question, all right? And when the CIO says, look, you can't have any more hardware because it's not highly utilized, there's an underlying tone, look, you don't know how to make it dense. So it's questioning our capability here, which is not right, because architecting this stuff isn't difficult, right? If we go around, so if a customer says, look, I want an environment where the performance is as good as physical. Of course I can do it, just no overcommit. Simple as that. I want a performance, I want an environment where I can run monster VM. Of course, I'm gonna get you a big socket, big core. I want an environment where there is plenty of high availability. No problem, just get lots of HA nodes, get lots of FTT in the world of vSAN, get failure domain. I can architect it. I want an environment where I can have 1,000 clusters, 1,000 VMs. No problem, I just get you a big clusters. So it's not that hard. So why are we being questioned? Why are we being questioned inside here, right? And the reason for that is while the two are looking at different angles. An application team just look at my application. I have the privilege of working with customers with 50,000, 100,000 VMs, right? They're just looking at my little apps or my one apps. You got 100,000, that's good luck to you. That's why you are hired. On the other hand, the CIO is looking at the whole infrastructure. One is looking at the consumer layer, the other one looking at the provider layer. That's why they're talking at a different frequency. We need to synchronize them. So whatever demand coming here is matched by the supply. And that is the whole goal of Operationalize Your World. We give you a set of methodology and a set of dashboards using the visualized operation to prove, to answer that. This is actually a one-day workshop that I typically do. And the entire deck is available in PowerPoint. Did I click on it? Sorry, I'm not technical, guys. I want to scroll down to the deck. The entire deck is available in PowerPoint for you guys, partners, customers to use. That one-day workshop. We only got half an hour here. I just want to run through with you. Not only that, and the reason why we give the deck in PowerPoint, not in PDF, not because we don't have a license for Acrobat readers, but because, see, a lot of customers can have the same identical architecture. Let's say you all follow VVD to the dot, but the way you run operations are different. It's like fingerprint. That's why we gave it in PowerPoint. So take the deck, remove the stuff that is not relevant to you, add yours, remove the two ugly guys, the photo, put your photo, make it yours, okay? Because it is your operations. And not only that, we also gave you the kit, the dashboard. All this dashboard is made available, and you can import it. And within basically half an hour, you have it. There is no need to spend like weeks to have. There are about 50 over dashboards inside there. The Observable program, think of it as a way from us in the operations, vRealize operations team to test idea. So you notice, how many of you use vRealize operations? You notice the 6.6 dashboards? It's completely different to the one on 6.3. We have replaced every single one of them. And they all came from Observable. So Observable is our mechanism to test. Think of it as an alpha. Right? We release something, let customers try it out. You're happy with it, we get good feedback, we bring it on board. All right? Think of it like that. So in 6.6, there are I think about 16 of them. Oh, by the way, if you don't like those dashboards in 6.6, the idiot that did it is talking to you right now. So feel free to complain. Okay? I'm always keen to get your feedback. Okay, and we got another 50 in Observable inside there. Okay, so you can get a sneak preview. At the same time, you can try it out and let me know, Iwan, Sunny, this stuff is useless or this stuff is good. Let us know. You got our context. We gave our full context there. So, I'm jumping back just in the interest of time. I want to talk about this. See, a lot of us system architect, data center infrastructure architect, we architect a platform. Of course, we want it to be the best. But from a CIO point of view, see, why do we have this platform? Right? It's to serve all those VMs. That's it. There's no VM, there's no infrastructure, right? Why do we have it? Right? CIO expectation is proof. CIO is going to say, look, you asked for the money, $10 million 1 year ago. They say you can run, let's say, 10,000 VMs. Okay, 1 year has passed. Can you show it to me? That has done the job. The thing about that sentence is in English. I could have made it in Chinese too, but data center doesn't speak English. It speaks metrics, it speaks value. That has to be translated into metrics and value, so there is no argument about it. What is well? What is well? It has to be defined. And when we translate that thing one level down, IaaS, infrastructure as a service. Since the first day of data center, the day when Adam built the first data center for Eve, there are only 4 elements: CPU, memory, disk, network. We haven't found the 5th element. You'll find it, you'll let me know, and then we'll monitor it. Okay, but there's only 4 things. Okay, those are what you sell. That is what your infrastructure provides as a service. The underlying stuff, as an application owner, I don't care. VMware, VM somewhere, VM nowhere, that is your call. You want to put Intel Xeon, Intel Neon, that's your call. It's CPU as a service, all right? And you got to quantify that. Some customers I shared earlier, I worked with one global bank with 100,000 VMs. You can't walk to a CIO office and say, the good news. 99,999 VM is being served well. One is not being served well. Can I get my bonus? You can't. It's going to ask you what happened to that VM. All right? Plus, every 5 minutes. You can't say, I'm going for holiday for 2 weeks. There's no monitoring. There's no two way about it. All right? You can be, whatever the expectation is, how do you prove that? So you need to be able to prove it. Let's take a calculation. 1,000 VMs times 4. And I'm assuming I'm just collecting one counter. One for CPU. You're doing a lot more than that. If you have a 16 CPU VM, there's at least 16 counters. One for each CPU. Plus, of course, we have CPU ready, CPU co-stop, CPU etc. We have a lot of things, right? I'm just taking one each, okay? And says give it to me every month. I don't need to look at it every day. Just give it to me every month. Every 5 minutes. In 1 month, there are 8,766 5 minutes. That is what is being asked. For every 1,000 VM every month. So you add it up, about 35 million. That is the lowest, that is the minimum that you got to collect. You're probably doing something in order to do your job as a data center monitoring. You're probably doing something because in the range of about 20 times of that. Because I have not counted the ESXi. I have not counted Windows. I have not counted the application. I have not counted your switches. I'm just counting one counter per VM. That's it. You're doing a lot more than that, right? And so at the very minimum, what is being asked of us is 35,000 measurements per VM per month, non-negotiable. That is what's being asked. That is what that sentence proves that your IaaS is serving the VMs well. That is the amount of data is being asked. Right? Now, in order to satisfy the customer and the CIO who are not talking at the same frequency, they are connected. Because we talk about performance here, you need to introduce something. That is called the performance SLA. Performance SLA is at the heart of Operationalize Your World. It helps you quantify. Yeah, I know you bought the Intel E5-2699 V4. I know that. Okay, but how do you quantify the performance of that when they are not interested in the spec? How do you express something, define something, performance? You provide infra as a service, right? So performance SLA is what is the key to bridge the two. It's how you justify hardware, it's how you explain. And where do we measure performance? It's in between the VM and the ESXi. The VM runs on ESXi, right? And it consumes the 4 resources. I'm going to use, for example, this, right? And when I issue IOPS, I expect to be served. And what do you promise me? You promise me 10? Okay. Then that is what I signed up for because that is the price that I'm willing to pay. Then I'm going to track it at 10 for my VM, not for 10,000 other VMs. You're not tracking it at the vCENT level or the array level, at my VM. Because that is the contract we have, right? Or you have another one at 30 milliseconds that is cheaper. Yeah, and then I have a contract for that VM. What do you promise me? I don't care whether it's vCENT or it is some other physical array. I only care about, did you give the latent IO back to me in the time that you promised me? This is what we mean by architecting for performance, as in not only you consider the spec, but what is it that you are delivering at the VM level? Quantify that. That is performance SLA. That is at the VM level, all right? And some of these slides are pretty straightforward. The reason for that is for you guys to explain to an application team. So you guys understand. My job is easy because you understand all this stuff. But the apps team, the CIO may not get it. So that's why there are additional slides that helps you explain. They say, look, it's like this. Say 4 CPU, whatever. That is your utilization. You are entitled to use it. You want that blue line to be at the top 100%, you are entitled to use it. Right? You pay for it. My job is to make sure that what you demand and what you get is the same. It's very close. That's my job. I am tracking the gap between the blue line and the red line. That is the quality. That is the quality of my service to you. How fast do I get back to you? Now, will it be identical? It depends. If it is a disk latency, it will not be identical because disk latency can't be 0 milliseconds. It's got to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or something like that. And I'm going to tell you now. Okay, let's say you pay for $1. Let's say that's 10 milliseconds. Okay, sorry. Let's say you pay for $10. That is 30 milliseconds. Or you pay $20. I bring it down to 20. You pay $40. I bring it down. It's a matter of the price. It's see, there are three principles, right? Customers always want it good, cheap. They want it cheap. They want it fast, and they want it now. So you can tell them you want it good, you want it cheap. It won't be soon. So you pick two. You pick the two, right? So I architect based on these parameters. So you tell them, look, in a tier 1, yeah, the contention will be very minimal. In fact, in tier 1, no contention. I guarantee you no. Because why? No overcommit. I don't need to set CPU reservation. I don't need to play with resource pool. I don't need. You can run all night long, all day. It will match physical. Because there's no overcommit. The price is high, of course. Right? You don't like that price? You want to get half price? Well, I'm going to put twice as many VM. Simple as that. Because it's the same hardware. It's identical hardware. Right? It's depending on what do you want to use it for. Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3. So I'm just going to play with the price and overcommit ratio. Right? And of course, the lower the price, then there's no only way something has to give in, performance. The gap is going to widen, guys. The CPU contention is not going to be near 0 anymore. The memory contention will not be 0. It's going to be widened. And I'm going to track that numbers. Because I care, because that is what I promise you. The quality, I want to make sure it doesn't go off tangent that it drops so bad. I'll track that numbers. And you and I have an agreement on that numbers up front. And I use that number to then get back to the CIO. Look, that is what we promised the customer. Okay? Now, that is how I'm going to justify my hardware. Because we breach the SLA. Give an example. Maybe let me just take one. This is an actual dashboard in vRealize operation. This answers the question. Let's say the CIO is asking you, look, I need to know, are the VM being so well? Right now, tell me, you provide CPU, memory, disk, network. Can you show it to me live? We need it on the big screen for everybody to see that we're doing a good job. There you go. That VM is being, every single box is a VM. They're being grouped into gold, silver, bronze, according to the tiers. We know every single VM, whether you are tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. We know that. Because that is what a VM owner cares. So I'm going to tag you. I know how to serve you. And with every single, and the color there is 0 to 4. 0 means I serve you well on 4. Red means I fail to serve you on all 4. And the reason why the VM are categorized by service tier, because it's VM number 1 is on tier 1, and it's getting, let's say, 11 milliseconds, and you promise 10 is going to be red, because I fail. But VM number 2, that is on tier 3, is getting 29 milliseconds. It's going to be green because I promise you 30, because you pay a lot less. So they are according to the promise. I can show it now. Now, cluster, for example, we can answer the question. A cluster performance. We have now the KPI, the formula for cluster performance. 0 to 100. 100%, it's serving all the VMs well according to the 4 elements, right? And 0, I failed to serve any of you. So how do you standardize across clusters of different size, of different tiers? Notice I am not measuring, and this is the formula, by the way. It's a formula. I am counting the SLA failure on every single VM. I am not counting the VM with SLA failure. Give you an example why. We have 2 clusters. On both clusters, half the VM fail SLA. Half the VMs. On cluster A, each of these VM only fails on 1. On this cluster, they fail on 4. This cluster struggles more. It's unable to serve the workload. This cluster struggles relatively less. Although, even though half of the VMs on both clusters are affected. That is why it is SLA failure per VM, right? And of course, we divide it by number of running VMs. We divide it by 100. I mean, we get 100%. Divided by 4, because otherwise you get 400%. There you go. You can now count SLA failure. And now you can now sit down with CIO. Okay, at which point do you want to buy hardware? Because you're not going to wait till this number drops too low. Because there will be too many complaints. So now we have a threshold. We architect this to deliver certain performance, and we are tracking it on every single VM living on that clusters. Right? And now, the performance is a matter of, I'm flipping it, right? 1 minus that. Once you do that, you can have a dashboard that looks like this. Again, all this dashboard, you do not have to create it. Go to Operationalize Your World, just Google Iwan VMware, download the kit, right? And the catch, of course, we do not know which cluster is tier 1, which one is tier 2. We do not know. You got to specify it. Create a group. Just put our classes inside the group, right? And you can do that. That is a tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 clusters. Now I can show it live on the big screen. This is my cluster performance. And I can change the color threshold. We can sit down with CIO at what point, CIO, at which point you want me to change color. You ask for a leading indicator because you said it takes 3 months to buy hardware. Okay, at which point you want me to turn yellow? Which point to turn orange and which point to turn red? Because now we can do that now, right? And you notice this is tier 3, tier 2, tier 1. This is just in the lab, right? And you can see that the tier 1 struggle the most, right? Because of course the tier 1 has a tighter SLA, right? And that is why. But in the real environment, they will be basically, according to the demand, you will be able to see whether they perform or not. This is another one. Tier 1 apps monitoring, all right? And this is a request from our customers. One of the things that I like doing is I like to just do a whiteboard with customer. I would say, just draw on the whiteboard. What do you want it to be? So this customer is a bank. They said that I want the top application on the big screen. Okay, and I want it to be color-coded. And if they are not green, I want my guys to click on it and show me a history. Show me every VMs on that application. Show it to me. And I want to see history. It's yellow now. How long has it been yellow? I want to see a line chart. Is there a pattern? Was it red? How many VMs are affected? Okay, and I want to click on a VM and should automatically show me. It should show me the actual KPI that caused the thing to change colors, right? Got 5 minutes left. I'm going to speed up, right? So, and the reason why he asked for that, he's basically trying to show transparency to the line of business. Look, we are the enterprise IT. We serve you guys. I know your application. It's on the big screen, number 1. Number 2, I can answer a question. Is the performance caused by infrastructure, yes or no? Is my part of the house guilty or not? All these applications run different software, right? Of course, but they are run on the same infrastructure, the same. Eventually, they consume CPU, memory, disk, network, and the purpose of the DAC the slide is to answer a question: is infrastructure guilty, yes or no? It is not about monitoring Oracle, SQL, etc. It's asking the infra part. Right? They're all common. So just moving on. So this is an application. So we define the KPI for application, which is the lowest of the tier. And then the KPI of a tier is the average of all the VMs in the tier. That's how we define it. And what about the KPI of a VM? This is the KPI of a VM from an infrastructure point of view. So we come up with these numbers. We had a formula that explains that. And the formula here actually, because you can have different colors, right? So the formula here works this way. If any of them is red, it's going to show red. But if none of them is red, it's going to take an average. Because, I'm sorry? Okay, the question was, where is the network? See, the thing is we cannot quantify the network because you need to put a threshold. At which point do you turn yellow? So if you can quantify it, yes, 2 minutes left. You can quantify it, you can put it here. The formula, the super metrics are flexible. You can add your own, right? And I just have 2 minutes left. So this is what it looks like, all right? So essentially, I want to wrap up here. You have the full deck. It's that one-day workshop, okay? You have the entire dashboard. Go and take a look at it. They're all in PowerPoint. Make it yours. And key point I want to say is that performance SLA. You architect the environment for performance. You just need to quantify it. You have availability SLA, and you are quite accurate about it. 99.95, 99.99. You're very accurate. It's not like 20, 30, 40. No, it's to the dot, right? And you need to do the same thing for performance. Is it good so far? Okay, I'm around, and thank you very much.